My birthday cake had one simple message written on it: hope he was worth it. I laughed, thinking it was a joke, until my husband played a video of me with my secret lover on the TV. The last thing he said before walking out? You can have him now. My birthday cake had one simple message on it: hope he was worth it. I laughed. I actually laughed, thinking it was some kind of weird joke. Maybe one of my friends messing around, maybe my sister being sarcastic. I was still grinning when I turned to my husband, Mark, expecting him to roll his eyes or shake his head. But he wasn't smiling. He wasn't even looking at me. Something in my stomach twisted. The kind of feeling you get when you realize you've made a mistake, but it's too late to fix it. And then Mark picked up the remote. He turned on the TV. And there it was. A video. Of me. With him. The room went silent. The kind of silence that presses down on your chest, that fills your ears until the only thing you can hear is your own breathing. My parents were there. My kids. My sister. Friends. Everyone I loved. Everyone who mattered. I couldn't move. Mark let the video play for 30 seconds. Long enough to make sure there was no mistake about what they were watching. Long enough for me to feel my world come crashing down. Then he turned it off. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream, to cry, to do something. But I just stood there, frozen, like if I didn't move, maybe it wasn't real. And then Mark spoke. His voice was calm, steady. The way you talk when you've already made up your mind about something. You can have him now. Then he grabbed his coat and walked out the door. And just like that, my life was over. Mark and I had been together for almost 20 years. College sweethearts, married straight out of school, built a life together from nothing. He was steady, reliable, the kind of man who never let you down. We had 2 kids, a beautiful home in Charlotte, and a life that, from the outside, looked perfect. And then I threw it all away. It started so small I barely noticed it happening. His name was Daniel. An old friend from high school. Someone I reconnected with through a mutual acquaintance. At first, it was just casual catching up, laughing over old memories, reminiscing about the past. Then came the texts. The late-night conversations. The compliments I hadn't realized I missed hearing. The way he made me feel seen in a way I hadn't in years. I convinced myself it was harmless. It wasn't. We met for coffee. Then dinner. Then more. I told myself it didn't mean anything. That I was still the same person. That I wasn't the kind of woman who did this. But I was. And I didn't stop. I thought I was careful. I thought no one knew. I thought I could keep it hidden, bury it, move on. I had no idea Mark already knew, and he hadn't said a word. Instead, he had collected everything. Texts, emails, call logs, GPS records from my own phone, security footage, and the video. I don't know how he got it. I don't even want to know. But it didn't matter. Because now, everyone knew. I could feel them staring at me. My parents, my friends, my kids. My 16-year-old daughter wouldn't look at me. My 12-year-old son looked like he was going to be sick. I tried to speak, to say something, but my throat had closed up. And then my mother stood up. She didn't say a word. She just picked up her purse, looked at me like she had never seen me before, and walked out. My sister followed. One by one, the rest of them left. And I just stood there, staring at that stupid cake, feeling like the ground had opened up beneath me. The house was empty now. The silence was suffocating. Mark was gone. The kids were gone. My life was gone. And all I could do was stand there, staring at the wreckage of everything I had destroyed. I don't know how long I stood there. Minutes. Maybe hours. Time didn't feel real anymore. My hands were shaking. My stomach was twisting. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was trying to break free from my chest. I reached for my phone. My fingers fumbled as I unlocked it. My messages were already flooding in. My sister, "What the hell, Sarah?" My mother, "I don't even know who you are." A friend, well, probably former friend now, wow. Just wow. Then I saw the one that made my blood run cold. "Mark, don't come looking for us. The kids don't want to see you." That one hit like a knife to the gut. I wanted to call him. I wanted to beg. I wanted to tell him it wasn't what it looked like, except it was. The proof had been right there. Played out in front of everyone. I sank into a chair and covered my face with my hands. I needed to think. I needed to. My phone buzzed again. Daniel. I just stared at his name on the screen. My hands clenched around the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. I answered. "Hey," he said, his voice low. Hesitant. He didn't sound happy. He didn't sound relieved. He just sounded tired. "You saw?" I croaked. My throat was raw, like I'd been screaming, even though I hadn't made a sound. "Yeah." A long pause. My wife got it too. I squeezed my eyes shut. Of course she had. Mark wouldn't just stop at me. He wouldn't just destroy my life. He'd make sure Daniel's life burned too. "She kicked me out," Daniel muttered. Said she never wants to see me again. I should have felt something. Regret. Sympathy. Guilt. Instead, all I felt was dread. Where are you? I whispered. At a motel. He let out a humorless laugh. She threw my stuff on the lawn. Didn't even let me grab my wallet. Had to get my brother to book me a room. A lump rose in my throat. This was real. All of it was real. I had destroyed my marriage. My family. My home. And for what? Daniel? I thought about Mark. About the way he had just known. The way he had let me think I was getting away with it. The way he had planned this. Set it all up. Lined up every single detail so that when it all came crashing down, it would do the most damage possible. Mark had always been quiet. Patient. The kind of man who didn't act without thinking. And I had never thought about what it would look like if he turned that patience against me. I opened my mouth to tell Daniel I'd come meet him. But then a thought stopped me cold. How had Mark gotten the video? My stomach turned. I hadn't recorded anything. Daniel hadn't either, at least, not that I knew of. So how? A chill ran down my spine. What if this wasn't just Mark finding out and getting revenge? What if there was more to it? Sarah. Daniel sounded impatient now. Are you coming? I swallowed hard. I need to think. Think about what? His voice was sharper now. It's not like you have a lot of options. Your life is already screwed. You might as well be here instead of sitting in an empty house. That made something in me snap. My life is already screwed? Because of him? I had lost everything for Daniel. And now that the dust had settled, I wasn't even sure if I wanted him anymore. I'll call you later, I said, and hung up before he could argue. I stared down at my phone. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I called Mark. It went straight to voicemail. I hesitated, then left a message. Mark. I need to know how you got that video. I hung up. And then I sat in the empty house, staring at that stupid birthday cake, waiting for a reply that might never come. The house was too quiet. The kind of silence that creeps into your bones and makes your skin crawl. I kept staring at my phone, waiting for Mark to call back. Waiting for something. But it never rang. I got up and started pacing. My head was spinning. My chest felt tight. How had he gotten that video? I hadn't recorded it. Daniel wouldn't have been that stupid. So who did? Mark wasn't a tech guy. He wasn't the kind of person who would plant cameras or hack phones. But that video hadn't come out of nowhere. I walked into the kitchen, barely registering the mess still sitting on the table, plates, half-eaten food, that cursed cake. The knife was still stuck in it. I pulled it out and wiped my hands on my jeans, even though they weren't dirty. Then I saw it. An envelope. Sitting neatly next to my plate. I hadn't noticed it before. Probably because I had been too busy watching my life fall apart. My fingers felt numb as I picked it up. It had my name on it. Mark's handwriting. I hesitated, then tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. I thought about confronting you, but I wanted you to feel it instead. To really feel it. The way I did. The way the kids did. You never even noticed. Not the extra time I spent away. Not the way I started watching you closer. Not the way our own home turned into something else. It wasn't hard, Sarah. You left the door wide open. You let someone in who was already watching. He recorded you. Not me. And now you have a bigger problem than me walking away. Good luck. I read it twice. Then a third time. My hands were shaking so hard the paper rustled. Someone else. Not Mark. My legs felt weak. I grabbed the back of a chair to steady myself. Someone else had been watching. Who? My mind went into overdrive. Who else had access? Who else would have known? It wasn't Mark. It wasn't Daniel. Then it hit me like a brick to the chest. Daniel's wife. She must have found out first. Before Mark. Before anyone. And instead of confronting us, she had watched. Recorded. Collected her own evidence. And when she was ready, when she was sure it hadn't just been Mark she sent it to, she had sent it to everyone. My breath came out in short, shallow gasps. I had been played. I was so careful, so convinced I had everything under control. But the entire time, someone else had been setting the stage. And I never even saw it. My knees buckled, and I sank into the chair. My heart was racing. I grabbed my phone and found Daniel's number. My hands were slick with sweat as I hit call. He picked up on the second ring. What? He sounded annoyed. Tired. Like this was just another inconvenience for him. Your wife, I choked out. She knew. A pause. Then, what are you talking about? She knew. She recorded us. She sent it to Mark. And who knows who else. Silence. Daniel? I pressed. A shaky breath on the other end of the line. Then, she told me she had a private investigator. His voice was barely a whisper. But I didn't think he stopped. I felt cold. A private investigator. That meant this wasn't just a one-time thing. That meant there was more. More videos. More proof. And we had no idea who else had seen it. I swallowed hard. Daniel. What else did she find? Another pause. Then he hung up. I stared at my phone. My pulse roared in my ears. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. I sat there, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. Daniel had hung up. Not because he didn't believe me. Not because he thought I was wrong. But because he knew I was right. His wife had played us both. And now I had no idea how much worse this was about to get. I tried calling him back. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. My stomach twisted. I felt like I was suffocating in my own skin. I needed to do something. I grabbed my keys and drove to the only place I could think of, the motel Daniel was staying at. I didn't know what I was going to say. I just knew I needed answers. The drive felt like a blur, my thoughts racing so fast I could barely keep up. The parking lot was mostly empty, a flickering neon sign buzzing over the entrance. It smelled like stale cigarette smoke and regret. Room 214. I banged on the door. Nothing. I knocked again, harder this time. A shuffle inside. A pause. Then the door cracked open. Daniel's face appeared, and the second I saw him, I knew. Something was very wrong. His eyes were bloodshot. His hands were shaking. His shirt was wrinkled, like he hadn't slept. But it was the fear in his face that made my breath hitch. He stepped back just enough for me to see inside. And there, sitting on the bed, arms crossed, looking like she had all the time in the world, was his wife. The woman who had been watching me, recording me, destroying my life without me even realizing. She was calm. Too calm, like she had already won. I stepped inside, my pulse roaring in my ears. Daniel looked like he wanted to run. His wife just smiled. I was wondering when you'd show up, she said, tilting her head. Took you longer than I thought. Her voice was so steady, so collected, it sent chills down my spine. I swallowed. My mouth was dry. What do you want? My voice barely sounded like my own. She leaned back against the headboard like she was settling in for a show. I already have what I want, she said. Your husband's gone. Your kids won't look at you. Everyone knows what you did. And Daniel? Well, he doesn't have anywhere to run either. I turned to him. He wouldn't meet my eyes. You knew she was here? My voice shook. Daniel swallowed, rubbing a hand over his face. She called me. Said she wanted to talk. I let out a bitter laugh. And you believed her? His wife smirked. I didn't lie. She gestured around. We're talking, aren't we? I hated her. Hated the way she looked so smug, like this was all a game to her. I clenched my fists. So what now? You want to humiliate us some more? Destroy what little we have left. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, I want you to tell me why. That threw me. What? Her expression didn't change. I want to hear you say it. Why did you do it? I opened my mouth, then closed it. I didn't have an answer. Not a real one. I could say I was bored. I could say I got caught up in the excitement. That I missed feeling wanted. But none of that excused it. None of it made it okay. And she knew that. She leaned forward, resting her elbows on her knees. I spent months watching you, she said softly. I saw the way you looked at my husband. The way you laughed when you thought no one was watching. The way you lied to your family's faces. My throat burned. You didn't care about them, she continued. You didn't care about me. You didn't even care about him. She jerked her chin toward Daniel. You just cared about yourself. The words cut deep because they were true. I thought of Mark. The way he had quietly gathered evidence, watching me destroy everything we had built. The way he had let me walk into my own downfall. The way he had waited, not to hurt me, not to lash out, but to make sure I felt the full weight of my choices. Just like she had. And suddenly, I couldn't breathe. Because I had never been the victim. I had never been the one being played. I was the one who had done this. I was the villain. I took a shaky breath. My whole body felt like it was shutting down. My voice cracked. I don't know why I did it. She tilted her head. That's not good enough. I swallowed back the lump in my throat. My hands trembled. I was selfish. The words tasted like acid. I was stupid. Still, she just stared at me. I took a step back. I should go. Daniel finally looked at me. There was something empty in his eyes now. Like he finally realized what we had done. I turned to leave, but before I could reach the door, she said one last thing. Your husband doesn't want you back. I froze. Slowly, I turned. She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I spoke to him. She shrugged. Thought he should know how pathetic you looked, running back to Daniel. My stomach twisted. He told me something, she continued. Said he's never been more relieved to be rid of you. Said the hardest part was knowing his kids had to find out who you really are. It was a death sentence. A final nail in the coffin. Mark wasn't waiting for me. He wasn't coming back. He had moved on. And I was stuck in the wreckage of my own choices. I walked out without another word. And for the first time since it all started, I knew this was the one mistake I could never fix.